To quote Leonardo DiCaprio's character from The Wolf of Wall Street, they're not leaving. They're not leaving. They're not bleeping leaving. The Canes and the Centennial Authority have agreed to a deal that includes $300 million from the authority to renovate the arena, that's PNC Arena, and comes with big plans to build up an entertainment district in that area of town. And, you know, you try to give both sides of a story, right? Like your journalism school stuff starts to kick in. It's like your skeleton brain or your lizard brain is like your journalism school brain. You want to give both sides of a story. I don't see how this is anything but great news. You want to give like the pros and the cons, the great news, but then here's the downfall. I don't see how this is anything but great news if you are a sports fan in the area. We could go more specifically a hockey fan or a state fan, but even if you're not, this is just good for the area. This is just good for the triangle.
Even an entertainment fan.
Exactly. If you're in it for concerts, stand-up comedy, if you just like to have more options when you're going out to eat, if you just want more variety to your entertainment life, this is, again, like I said, I want to give you the downfalls. I can't come up with any. The agreement between the Hurricanes parent company, Gale Force Sports and Entertainment, and the Centennial Authority, which owns PNC Arena, includes a 20-year lease extension for the Canes, which is why I did the whole screaming, they're not leaving thing.
Yeah.
They're not leaving. And here's, for those of you saying they weren't leaving anyway, I agree, but you can't, right? That's a way to get yourself burned pretty quickly if you start developing or building or spending money as if you know the Canes are going to be there before you have that ink dried on the extension. So a 20-year lease extension means, all right, now you can start spending the money as if you have it. Now you can start planning ahead as if it's a done deal.
Well, I think that was part of the hang-up for a little bit on getting this deal done was the sense that, well, yeah, the Canes wanted to sign the lease if you're going to commit the money, and then, well, if you sign the lease, then we'll commit the money. So both things kind of had to happen at the exact same time. Right? We got to walk across this finish line together, hand in hand.
Exactly. It had to be the thing where, right, like if you jump and then I jump, how do I know you're going to jump after I jump? And it's all right, let's jump side by side. And it feels like that's what they did. It feels like that's what they did. Tom Dundon, that guy's pledged a decent amount of money. Hurricanes owner Tom Dundon is committing at least $125 million outside of the additional development that they've committed to on, things that he'll own and things that he'll be able to make money from. But pledged at least $125 million to PNC. $10 million for furnishing sportsbook and offices, $40 million for the 3,000 to 5,000 seat music venue, $75 million in payments to the Centennial Authority over the life of the lease. Follow the bouncing dollar. Cash rules everything around me. Cream, get the money, right? Follow the bouncing dollar. It'll show you where someone's priorities are. $125 million is quite a bit of priority. You heard part of this at the top of the show. Here's Canes GM Don Waddell on Tom Dundon and why he saw the opportunity to develop and continue to make the Triangle the Canes' home.
He is thrilled about this deal, not only for the hockey team because of the lease, but the development also. It puts out, I think the important thing for all of us is, we had all these exit windows, and there's a lot of people that were skeptical. Did he really want to keep this team here? Well, I think by us committing, as was announced today, I give him all the credit. When he took over the franchise in 2018, we weren't in very good shape, and both from a competitive standpoint and a financial standpoint. And now, 5 years later, we've made the playoffs all 5 years. First time franchise done that. Won our division last 3 years. First time for our franchise. He's very, very proud of what we got going on here, and so for him to commit like this, he wouldn't be committing all this money. I know that if he didn't believe in what we're doing here and what's going to happen here.
Now you see what this will attract, right? As these renovations, as these additions to the area get brought to light, okay, what will it attract, right? Having that 3,000 to 5,000 seat music venue? What acts will it attract? Having additional entertainment areas. How many tourists will it attract? How many people that show up from out of town for a Canes game aren't staying just one night? They're going to stay 2 and take everything else in. Now you just get to look at those sort of things. The Hurricanes, and by the way, there was a commitment from the NHL on this, to bring the All-Star game within 3 years of the completed renovations to the area.
That's renovations to PNC Arena. That's
True.
not everything else that comes with it. But I fully expect that we'll see hotel and all that stuff in the next few years.
NHL Stadium Series within 5 years of the lease extension being signed. That's within 5 years of right now, essentially. The NHL has committed to these obligations, the authority's lease negotiator Dan Barrett said earlier today. So those are 2 things already that wouldn't be coming to the area and bringing a whole host of tourist money if this agreement wasn't put in place. Now, again, I can't find a negative. I really can't. The one thing I have heard is state fans are worried about their tailgating. Boo Corrigan on the future of tailgating at Carter Finley Stadium.
I think there's time as well in all of this, in the development, and where the development begins. And, we're fortunate here. We have north of 14,000 spots, right? And when you look at, 95% of those spots are going to be replaced on the PNC side, if you will, of the property. And 50% of those will be surface parking. That leaves another 10,000 other spots that are out there. And we've talked about this before. It's like the best and worst problem in the world to have, right? We have unbelievable parking, as good a parking as there is in college football. We're going to lose some. It's going to repurpose, but we still have an awful lot of parking, and we have time.
There are things like officially in the agreement that protect some of this. There's a tailgating zone, which requires no vertical development shall occur in a 5-acre tailgate zone for NC State football games.
There you go.
You heard Boo Corrigan, who is state's athletic director, mention about the replacing at least 95% of the parking lost during each development phase, and 50% has to be surface parking on site. There are things that are actually protecting it, but as I've been saying to everybody that asks me all day, tailgaters are, and I've seen this in many different areas, and I guarantee you I've been at state tailgates. I've had a lot of fun at state tailgates. I have a story.
Good time.
Okay, I'll give you a good state tailgating story in a second. Okay. But tailgaters will find a way. They're like, life in Jurassic Park. Life finds a way.
Yes. They
will find a way, right? If you take away this spot, they'll take over a field. If you take away that spot, they'll take over a grocery store park. Like, they will find a way. I will never worry about the survival of tailgating at big-time college football because it will find a way. You might have to move your spot, and I know you've been connected to that spot, but you'll find a way.